ready, Joe.
All right, give me 1 second.
Thank you. Let's get some more on all of this, Dr. Rashid John. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you think this new Johnson & Johnson vaccine will still...
All right, Mike, you're all set.
Okay, we're good to go? Okay.
You're good to go.
All right, the Wednesday, February 24th zoning board of review meeting is underway at 7:04 PM on Wednesday night, the 24th. And I'm going to call the meeting to order. And the first order of business is going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, which can be led by anybody who wants to start it. Okay.
All right. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
The United
of the
States
United States of America and to the republic which it stands,
one
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we go on to the prayer. Go ahead, Pete.
Lord, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Hi, Paul. Yep.
Peter, Kelsey,
Present.
Alan Warwick,
Here.
Justin Kuchu.
Here.
Richard Bank.
Here.
Jerry Lee,
Here.
Tim Sullivan, Tim? He's here, I can see him. Michael McPhillips,
Here.
there's a quorum on record.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any comments or additions to the minutes of the zoning board meeting for January 27th, 2021?
No, I have a couple.
Okay, go ahead, Pete.
To memorialize the minutes so it matches the agenda for the February meeting. We need to make a couple of changes. On the proposed use, the minutes are stating 200-foot lot of principal use, away from principal use, and also the list of hotel, motel, and transient. That language is from the first application, not the September application that our agenda has correctly. So according to, again, 5951, it's 100 feet from the principal lot as far as distance, and the definition is for a hotel only.
Okay. Paul, you want to make those notations?
Yeah, just one other one, Mike. I don't think I had
Okay.
your vote registered in there. I don't know if she wants to do that.
Oh, yeah, I think that was just
Yep.
that's a yes, yeah, I saw that too, Peter.
Motion to
That's kind of a
approve
housekeeping thing, but
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's all housekeeping.
motion to approve as amended.
Make a motion to approve as amended. Any a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Anything else, Pete, or are we good?
Oh, good.
Okay, so the first petition we're gonna be doing today, Paul, you're all set, right?
Yes,
Um,
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
yes, sir. Yep, go
I'm
ahead.
not sure if Al, the travel of the case had that same language in it. I know it's recorded. I don't know if that needs to be changed too.
Good advice as usual, Dr. Rashid John. Thanks so much.
Did Al hear me?
What travel of the case?
For the petition of the February, of the January meeting.
No, that doesn't have to be changed.
Okay.
Okay, we ready to move on? Okay, petition number 2021-3. The applicant Tradesman's Park LLC, the owner applicant Kent County Business Park LLC. The premises is James P. Murphy Highway, plat 12-2, lot 42, zone BP, which is Business Park. The applicant is seeking a special use permit for proposed commercial condominium units. Three buildings, building A and C, 8 units, and building B containing 10 units for a total of 26 units. Each unit proposed is 25 feet wide by 40 feet long, containing 1,000 square feet with a main door entrance and a 12-foot overhead door. The buildings have back-to-back units and a level slab floor for each building, thus providing the flexibility in units use and combined uses. The proposed use requires a special use permit in the business park zone since there is less than 50,000 square feet of contiguous undivided floor area. The applications for special use is permitted pursuant to the use table in section 5.6.20 in section 10 permits. In section 10 permits special use permits of the zoning ordinance of the town of West Warwick.
Mr. Chairman, I have marked exhibit number 1 is the application. Exhibit number 2 is the narrative. Exhibit number 3 is the radius map. Exhibit number 4, the abutters list. Exhibit number 5, the site plan. Exhibit number 6, the zoning certificate. And exhibit number 7, the tax collector's report.
Because it's business park, it doesn't need green cards, right? Al,
Um,
you have them?
I have them. So
Okay.
Al, do you want me to mark them as number 8?
Yes, please.
Do we have somebody from the tradesman's park on the call
I
here?
believe Mr. Resnick is here.
Okay.
Sandy? I spoke to him earlier today. Is Sandy Resnick online?
Yes. He's on.
Hello?
Yeah, I just unmuted him.
Okay.
Sir, please, let me just tell you what's going on here. So I apologize. I went online on my computer and it says this meeting link is invalid. So I just grabbed an iPad. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if you can see me. I've never done it on an iPad before, but I am panicking. So let me take a deep breath.
No, we're lucky. We can't see you.
That's probably good. I mean, maybe there's something I could, let me look at this. It even says anything about picture. It says mute, hand, Zoom, chat, live on YouTube. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I can do to get my camera working, but
You can go ahead.
Oh,
Sandy.
Mr. Resnick,
Okay.
I have to change the settings for you to get your camera
all right,
going.
let me do that. Okay. So I don't know if my members of my team are here, but I will start this. For the record, my name is Sanford J. Resnick. I am the attorney for Tradesman's Park LLC, which is the applicant. This property is located at on James P. Murphy Highway. It's plat 2-2, lot 42. The property is zoned business park. The property is approximately 2.9 acres. And this is I'm sorry, I'm shutting off something else. I'm sorry. The property is zoned business park. It's a permitted use, but because the property is not 50,000 square feet of continuous use, we require a special use permit. The project consists of 3 buildings, total of 26 units. Each unit is approximately 1,000 square feet in size, and these are what we call tradesman units, commercial units, typical for an electrician or a carpenter, a plumber who'd use this to store their vehicle and store their inventory, such as that. Usually they'll come in the morning, use them, might do some work there and then leave. So hopefully I have 2 witnesses today. Hopefully they're both here. I don't know if they have the same link. One is Patricia Walker, who's a professional engineer. The other one, Joseph Lombardo, who's my real estate zoning planning consultant. And I'd call Patricia. I don't know if Patricia is online.
Patricia is on and she is unmuted. She can speak.
Oh, that's great. So,
Patricia, let me swear her in, Joe.
Yep. Hold on one
do you
second.
want me to, do you want me to
Sandy, you
qualify her
got-
out? Okay,
Sandy, who was the other one? Joseph Lombardo?
Joseph Lombardo, that's correct.
All
Do
right.
you want me to qualify either of these people or? do they
I was
both-
just, I was gonna say that as far as Joe is concerned, I would recommend to the board that he has testified on so many occasions that I would suggest that he be qualified as an expert.
I would
Patricia, I
move.
don't know.
Well, let me give you, if you don't mind, Patricia K. Walker is a professional engineer with approximately over 35 years of experience. She's testified in at least half of the cities and towns in Rhode Island as a professional engineer, done commercial, done residential. As a matter of fact, she now is the chairman of the board of the Rhode Island Board of Registration for Professional Engineers. Many, many years of experience, worked for the, known companies, Cataldo, Zano, Grossman, and I would move that she be recognized by this board as an expert. Matter of fact, she did, but it's been quite a few years. She did appear before the town of West Warwick Planning Board and Zoning Board years ago.
Motion to approve her as an expert?
Want to make a motion?
So moved.
Okay, second,
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey,
Okay.
Patricia, can you hear me?
Danny, why don't you just put Joe's resume in just for the record?
I don't have Joe's resume. I just thought that Joe's appeared so many times before the
Okay,
board, it was not necessary.
all right.
I know he's been qualified many, many occasions.
I would advise the board that that is correct and that he should be qualified as an expert.
I would move that he's, Joe, yeah. I would move that he's qualified as an expert.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
go
thank
ahead.
you. Can Patricia hear me?
I can, Sandy.
Thank
Could
you
you,
very much.
Patricia, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. I can't see you. but will you
I don't
swear
know
to tell-
what is going on, why this isn't working. I
swear-
apologize.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Patricia, what I'd like you to do, you have the plan, if you wouldn't mind just going through, I know you've done a nice narrative. It would be helpful to the board if you could go through. I don't know if I assume they have that plan in front of them, but if you can go through and explain this project for us, I know you've done it many times. Thank you.
So the proposed tradesman park is proposed for the vacant approximately 2.9 acres of land that's located on the northerly side of James P. Murphy Highway. As Mr. Resnick noted, it is Assessor's Plat 12-2, Lot 42, and the parcel is zoned business park. It's proposed to have commercial condominium units. The type of tenants or owners of these units would provide trade services, and no retail operation is proposed on the project. The type of anticipated operation that would be there would be carpenters, landscapers, plumbers. As Mr. Resnick had noted, these type of people have 1, 2, maybe 3 persons, and they arrive in the morning, they load up the company vehicle, and they go off for the day, and all their services are performed off-site. Then they return at the end of the day. Most of the units are anticipated to have 50 to 100% of storage contained in these units. As noted, there are 26 units proposed. Each unit is proposed to have 1,000 square feet. As you can see from the site plan, we've identified them as buildings A, B, and C. A and C will contain 8 units, and building B in the middle will have 10 units. The reason each of the buildings will have a level slab floor, and what it will allow is that if someone wants to rent more than 1,000 square feet, the units are easily combined. They can share side to side, back to back. And as you can see that, the entire parking and circulation within the property is a 2-way loop. And I have coordinated with Mr. Assalone, the building official, because these are kind of an unidentified parking requirement. A typical for general commercial use is 1 space per 2,000 square feet, but because of the storage and the warehousing, it would be kind of inappropriate to have all of that. So Mr. Assalone and I have spoken. He did agree that 1 parking space per 300 square feet would be a reasonable number. That would result in a requirement of 87 parking spaces, and there are actually 92 parking spaces provided. 66 are surface parking, which include 4 ADA spaces and 26 interior spaces, which is basically 1 space per each unit. In addition, the zoning ordinance requires a loading space for up to 49,999 gross square feet of floor area. Since the project has a total of 26,000 gross square feet, there is 1 loading space provided up in the northern portion of the property, as you can see. And actually the space is larger than typically is required of the 12 by 60. It's 18 by 72, which would allow, if a tractor trailer or even 2 FedEx trucks come in, it gives them some space. Based on the property owner who has done these similar type of projects in other locations, they don't anticipate the need for a tractor trailer. These type of businesses do not get that type of deliveries. It's usually a UPS or a FedEx, a box truck, but we have provided it as required. The signage, as noted, there is 1 ground mounted sign down near the roadway. It is 10 feet off the property. It does meet the setback requirements for the sign. It's anticipated that would be a 1-sided and basically would face to the eastern on the angle, as you can see, just because of the circulation, because just past the property, it just ends in the cul-de-sac. So typically the traffic's going to be coming by that way. In addition, each of the buildings would be signed with like a building A, B, or C, and then each unit would have a unit number as well as their business name. And all of that would be complementary with aesthetics and would conform to all zoning. The landscaping proposed, as you can, it's not shown on this plan, but it should be noted that in the southeast portion of the property, the elevation that was found from the existing survey was approximately 360. And in the northeast corner of the property, it's about elevation 334. So there is a drop of approximately 26 feet from the front to the back of the property. As you can see on the plan, there is a drainage basin proposed at the rear of the property. And that is because it basically is the low point of the property that would be fenced. And because of the grade changes, also from west to east, it also drops about between 10 and 20 feet in elevation. So by providing the level grades, the level grades of the building, you can, we have a balancing act. So there are walls provided on each side as permitted by the zoning. They can be up to a 6-foot height. They vary from 0 to 6 feet as noted on the plan. Any existing vegetation outside the wall construction shall be maintained to the greatest extent possible and will be supplemented as the conditions warrant. In addition, there is some landscaping between each of the buildings and the parking areas as shown. It's proposed to have a closed drainage system, which means it's basically going to be a series of catch basins and piping. Both the roof and the parking area and the aisle, the pavement will run into the closed system and terminate up in the rear in the drainage basin. The stormwater will need to be approved by DEM, the RIPDs, because of the size of the construction site, which is greater than 1 acre. There were no wetlands identified on the site and no floodways as well. The utilities, it will be serviced by public water, by the West Warwick system, and the system will be, because of the grades of the site, it will be a gravity system basically from building A back to building C. And then up at the rear, it will actually be pumped up to the roadway. Each of the units will be provided the capacity be sampled, and it will meet all applicable West Warwick Sewer Commission requirements. That would be, required to be obviously approved. In addition, there is a public water system in James P. Murphy Highway, and the site would be master metered. You can see there is a hot box or an above ground enclosure up near the entranceway, basically like a little shed if it's not a hot box. And that would also require approval from the Kent County Water. The remaining utilities, the electric, telephone, cable, would be underground services, and those would be coordinated with the applicable utility company. Other than the special use because of the building size, where it is under that 50,000 contiguous gross square feet, we do meet all the other zoning.
Hey, Sandy, do you want to have Mr. Lombardo speak?
Oh, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
yes, sir. We can
All
hear
right,
you.
is Joe there?
Yes, I am. Can you folks hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Great.
All right, Joe, why don't,
Joe, want to raise your right hand? Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
thank you. Joe, are you familiar with the application for the special use permit that's been filed by the applicant? Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I reviewed the site plan that Patricia just.
Oh, God.
We got a bad echo somewhere. I don't know if that's on my end or.
How's that?
Joe, are you and Sandy in the same room or in the same place?
No. Is it possible I have it on in 2 places?
How's that?
Much
How's
better.
that? Well, that's better.
Okay.
All right, we'll try that again. It's going to be tough if that echoes. Yes, I am very familiar with the application. I reviewed it, and I just listened to Tricia describe it in great detail. So I am understanding of the application before the board tonight. Yes.
That seems a little bit better. Are you familiar with the property?
Yes, I know that site fairly well. I've been on that road a number of times. In fact, I was just there less than a week ago. And I know the site, I know the buildings that are around it. You have Drive It and Hop and Van lines. It's a number of businesses along that road have been developed over the past number of years on that site as an industrial business park.
Yeah, and you're familiar with the West Warwick zoning ordinance, is that correct?
Yes, I am. I've made myself familiar with the pertinent sections to review this application this evening.
And you are familiar with the Town of West Warwick comprehensive plan, is that correct?
Yes, I am. Once again, I reviewed both the land use element and the economic development element, looking for consistency statements.
Okay, and being familiar with this ordinance, there are certain matters I need to put in record in regards to the fact that we're looking for a special use permit. So I'm going to ask you each of these questions, and you can elaborate on as much as you like.
Okay.
So is the proposed use compatible with the neighboring land uses?
Yes, it's my opinion that it is. As I said, there's a variety of business uses already in the industrial area there. I feel given the size and shape of the property in question for this particular application, it's a good use. It's a good fit for not only that property, but for the variety of uses that exist along James Murphy Highway. So yes, it's my opinion that it is most certainly compatible with those neighboring uses.
And will the proposed use create a nuisance in the neighborhood?
No, I don't believe that it would. It's my opinion that basically what you're looking at here is a contractor's setup where they'd be coming in early in the morning, getting themselves set up and leaving for the day and then returning at the end of the day. So there's very little traffic, very little disturbance. And you also have a number of businesses that have considerably more activity on their sites than this building and these uses will have. So it most certainly would not, in my opinion, create a nuisance in this neighborhood.
Will the proposed use hinder the future development of the town?
No, I believe it's just the opposite. I believe this will, this is the type of development that was considered for this part of town, obviously, with the construction of that James Murphy Highway, all the utilities in the road, the great access onto to 95. So by no means would it hinder the development. This is the type of development that the town envisioned for this location.
The next question is one that Patricia actually alluded to, and I can tell you that I've also looked at the ordinance. Does the proposed application conform to all applicable sections of the zoning ordinance?
Yes, it does, and I'll just touch on a few of those right now. One of the first things, and I know the zoning board would normally look at these anyway, but it's those purpose statements in section 2 of your ordinance. We'll look at those and see how this particular project meets those, and I'll just mention a few of them to the board. Number 2.2 talks about providing a range of uses and intensities of use that are appropriate to the character of the town, reflecting current and expected future needs. 2.31, the goals and patterns of land use contained in the comprehensive plan. In the 2.3.2, the natural characteristics of the land and its suitability for use. You heard the engineer describe how they're making the site suitable for this use. It will fit, and the design is workable on that site. And lastly, 2.3.5 of the purpose statements talks about the availability and capacity of the existing and planned public or private services and facilities. We have sewer connections, we have water connections, we have a built road, we have great access to the highway. So in my opinion, it meets a number of the purpose statements in zoning. Further, when we look at section 5.6.20, that's the special provisions for the business park zoning district. And in that purpose statement of that, it talks about promoting private investment to expand the tax base and the development of employment intensive businesses and those associated with businesses which provide beneficial goods and services to such employment centers. So I believe it meets the spirit intent of the business park zoning district. And we know that the reason that this applicant is before this board tonight is because of the size of this building. It's less than 50,000 square feet, and it's not contiguous buildings. They're 3 separate buildings. So it requires your scrutiny as a project. Normally, if it was a larger building, it would be normally a straight permitted use. So really, the special use permit criteria is what we're covering right now, and that's the reason for you to be here.
And Joe, just
on the zoning.
I'm sorry. So I have one final question as to whether or not this application is in conformance with the purpose and intent of the West Warwick Comprehensive Plan.
Right. So to answer this final question for your review criteria, as I said, I did examine the land use element. One thing that obviously stands out immediately is on your future land use map, it's designated as business park. And in the zoning map, it's designated as business park zoning district. So it's definitely consistent with that. When we look at the actual strategy for this business park in the Route 2 corridor in general, is to keep available commercial and industrial development at this scale that's appropriate to the rest of the town. And so, by having this area, this is where you want it, this is where it's preferred, and that's right in the land use element of the comprehensive plan. And we know, obviously, land use talks about the balancing all these land uses in your community and achieving the community's goals based on the natural characteristics of the land and the availability of those services. So it's consistent with the land use element. And And lastly, it talks about in the economic development element, it's number ED-3. It talks about develop and implement long-range plan to both retain existing businesses and to attract new investment in West Warwick. And that's exactly what this is. It's new investment in the town of West Warwick. So lastly, I would just say it's clearly a consistent use from the land use perspective, from the zoning perspective, and it meets all of those criteria, in my opinion, for the special use permit. And I certainly would be happy to answer any questions that the board may have for me.
Thank you, Joe, and we're all open to questions.
Okay, I'll start off with the first question, then we can go around the board if Justin or Alan have any questions, and then we'll definitely get to you, Pete. My first question would be, it sounds like a great project. Do you already know people who want to go in there?
Well, my client, I believe Mr. Martone is on. Mr. Martone owns other types of these establishments and has a demand at all times. So if Mr. Martone is there, he can answer that himself.
Sandy, what's his first name? Mr. Resnick, what's your client's first name?
Mike Martone.
Okay, I think this is him.
Mr. Martone?
Mr. Martone, just unmute yourself.
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Mr. Martone, can you raise your right hand? Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Mike, did you hear that question?
I did. So I have several of these buildings. I got 2 in Narragansett, I got 1 in West Kingston, and I got 1 in Johnston. And there's always a great demand for tenants. And the greatest thing about them for me as an owner is that the rent is affordable for a small contractor, and it can be, a larger contractor go in there because I can make it bigger for them. So it's a good advantage for a small contractor that wants to get a van out of his house, or he lives in a condominium complex and he can't have a van there. And it's great for them to keep their tools and equipment somewhere outside of their house.
No, I definitely understand that, but do you know of any, as this is being built or in the process of potentially being built, don't want to put the cart before the horse, but do you have prospective people already who want to go into there?
I have about 5 prospective people, yes.
Okay. That's my first question. I don't have any other questions. If anybody else wants to go, like Justin or Alan or somebody like that. You guys have questions?
Yeah, I had a couple questions, Mike.
Fire away.
Okay. Could you, I'm not sure who would answer this one, but this has been referred to as condominiums. But who actually,
excuse me. I noticed that in one of the write-ups, it is not planned to be condominiums. These are rentals, and Mike intends to keep them.
Okay. All right. So it's more like a, like the personal storage units, just much bigger than that, right? Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, a condo is only a form of ownership.
Yeah, Alan,
my client rents these out.
Okay.
For cash
All
flow.
it doesn't matter, Alan, if in 2 years he decided to form a condominium association and divide it up. That's strictly ownership, and it's the project, not the type of ownership with which the zoning board is concerned.
Okay. And as far as the building access goes, it said there's like, I guess, just a regular door and then also an overhead garage door that would be used to access the individual units?
There's a 12-foot garage door on each unit.
Okay. And then what, I'm, I guess, concerned about like hazardous materials being stored there. What, you said it depends, obviously it'll be based on the particular tenant and their occupation, but is there any control over what is stored there, or, the types of materials that are stored?
We specify that no hazardous material is supposed to be on site, and if they do, it needs to be in a flammable cabinet.
Okay. So
It's in the lease.
Okay.
lease agreement.
Yeah, so like,
We
if it's
will have all those restrictions in written lease agreements with each of the tenants.
okay. And as far as access, I guess, to the site itself, in the write-up, it talked about there's going to be retaining walls. Is there going to be like a fence around the whole thing, and will there be controlled access to the buildings or to the site itself?
I don't intend to have controlled access, but it definitely could have controlled access.
Okay.
And the retaining walls are for the way the property kind of dips down, goes
Right.
to the back. So that's what the retaining walls are for.
Okay. But right now, you're not planning any kind of fence around it.
The only area that's planning to be fenced is
Fences.
around the drainage basin.
Around that retaining pond there. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
let me just say this. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I mean, where it is located, you wouldn't think you would have vandalism, but you know, the security is dictated by the vandalism. If we need them, we'll do it.
Okay. Those were my questions, Mike. Thank you.
Rick or Justin, either of you guys?
Alan kind of had the same one I had, so my question's been answered.
Okay.
Same here.
Got the floor, Pete.
Okay. Well, since it's not a condominium, there's going to be one property built. Would that be accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. Good move. This Mike Lombardo am I saying your name correctly?
Mike Martone.
Martone, I'm sorry, Mike Martone. Mike, you're the principal owner?
That's correct.
Okay, well, welcome to West Warwick. Glad you're coming there.
Thank you.
Some specific questions. You have loading space recognized on the actually it's the north side of the property, but it's at the top of the blueprint that we have in front of us. Is that going to offer dock unloading also?
No.
Or is that
No.
No, it's just a surface space,
right?
which is
Okay.
required.
All right. So the all unloading will be at
Ground level.
ground level. Okay, that makes sense. Two other questions regarding between the buildings, or the two 20-foot wide area that you're referencing as
A landscaped area.
oh, is that, well, it's landscaped, but it's got loading areas on it. Isn't it marked with
The loading areas are in front of
The
it.
spaces between building A and B and C are it's that 25-foot space.
yeah,
But there is one handicap space provided. Actually, you
I
can
see.
drive on each side.
those are parking areas with no storage in the middle.
Correct. It would just be landscaped. You can see there's some islands there. You can see the little wheelchair symbol.
Yes.
And then the crosshatch, which gives it it ends up being a van size ADA space, the clear zone.
Must think all the members have excellent eyesight here, but we do see that.
Yeah.
With the footage above sea level, you're approximately dropping down about 26 feet. So I would think it's going to be broken up into 3 sections with your 3 buildings. So the areas that are going to drop down would be in that landscaped area?
No, actually, to provide for the traffic flow, what we've looked at is the drop between building A and B and C. It's approximately a foot between each of the buildings because the highest point is in that the southwest corner where the entrance is. So we are making up much of the change of the grade in that area. The proposed grades, bear with me, let me pull it up here.
Are you planning on bringing a lot of fill-in?
It's going to be kind of a balancing act. And so I don't have a better description than that, but like in the
I
front, the
I
front
understand
third of
with
the
your
building, of the
I-
lot,
trying
from
to,
that southwest corner. Like
Yep.
I believe I mentioned before, the grade elevation is approximately 360, and about a third of the way in, which is around, bear with me one second. Let me just flip to this one. And the proposed elevation for building A is 346. So pretty much right at the front of building A, closest to the James P. Murphy Highway, we're making up that difference in that area right there. And then building B is going to be 345 plus or minus, and building C 344. But the grades up in the rear also drop down to about 340, 339. So it's really that front third southwest corner that's where the mound is. For and then pretty much the rest of the area is fairly flat. It's not,
Let
there's not a big difference.
me ask you this. If you're looking at the site between poles 42 and 43, which are pretty much the frontage of your property, once you go in and enter the particular lot from JP Murphy Highway, it looks like that there's almost an immediate drop there. Are you planning on having your driveway drop in order to make your 3 buildings only a foot or two different?
At the roadway, at the entrance of the drive at James P. Murphy Highway, the existing grade is approximately 356 at the road. So that is what we're carrying into the drive. The higher point, the 360, is over really at that southeast corner of the property. So there's quite a drop. And then across on the eastern side of the proposed drive, the grades, you can see there's a guardrail out there. An existing guardrail along James P. Murphy Highway. And I mean, the grades drop there pretty much, it drops like 8 feet from the curb line to the actual property line where the guardrail is showing.
Okay, so it's about 8 feet then, yeah, okay.
Right.
All
So we're
right.
kind of at like I said, we're about 356 at the curb line at James P. Murphy Highway. And so we're going in, the curb line to the property line is 35 feet. And then from there, we're about 60 to 70 feet. So we're making up the difference in that area. And the high side is to the west and the low side is to the east. So it's kind of like we're balancing between the two.
Right. The high side to the west is along Lincoln Mechanical. Are you looking to take some fill from there and bring it over and possibly putting in a wall over there or something?
Yes, we're actually on the west side, the wall, it's a retaining wall, and the high side obviously is toward the abutter. On the other side, it kind of flips. I don't know how well it came through on the plan you have or what scale it came through at, but the wall will flip, it'll be higher. It'll be, the roadway will be, the drive will be higher as you come in, and then it goes down. You can see the top of wall, bottom of wall. So the wall in that area is about 3 to 4 feet high.
Okay. One last question. You had mentioned to be able to possibly give specific or various square footage to different renters. I would think that the interior walls, they're all non-bearing, weight-bearing walls.
That's correct.
Okay, so are you looking to put a smaller than well, what do you have? 40 feet?
1,000.
1,000, which is what, 40 by
25 with
40
the
by
minimum
25.
size.
Right. So you're not looking to make one, say, 30 feet and the other one on the other side would have more? Or they're all,
Actually, it wouldn't work because if you see the 25 feet, we have the overhead door, and then we have a man door. So each unit would have that.
I understand.
And it wouldn't, you couldn't narrow the unit width to provide something different.
Very good. Looks like a great project, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Totally agree. Mike,
Thank you.
Mike, do you own Martone Painting?
I do.
Okay, that's in pretty much the business park down in Narragansett, right?
Yeah, I own those two buildings right across the street from each other. Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm semi-familiar with that area. Any other questions for anybody? From
Jerry or
anybody?
Tim? Jerry or Tim?
I'm good. There is a comment that was posted. There's a question about speeding on James P. Murphy Highway. Yeah, right, that's, I don't see that as, it's not our purview here.
It's kind of an enforcement issue.
Right, it's more something for the police department that would be able to address that.
If you ever drive up and down that road at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's not that much traffic. Or even 10 o'clock in the morning, there's not that much traffic.
Just as if I may make a comment, the use of that J.P. Murphy Highway is a 4-lane road. One West Warwick was considering different projects going into down at the end near the cul-de-sac. There was businesses like the water park specifically.
Yep.
I had a little bit to do with that, but
And so did I. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, Peter. We spent a lot of time doing that.
oh yeah, we had Mr. Day in 3 days.
From Colorado.
Yep, 3 days before the soft wheel shovel going into the land.
Yeah.
But besides that, that drive is authorized for probably 10 times the usage as it's getting now, maybe even more.
Yeah, that's two. It's, as Peter says, it's two lanes each way, north and south or east. That would, whichever way you want to frame it. It's two lanes each way, and it doesn't get a lot of use during the day.
Correct.
I mean, I know people might be picking up their kids at the daycare center, but they're dropping them off at 7:30 to 8:30, and they're picking them up from 4 to 5 o'clock at night. There's
Right, but
not that
there's
not that many people there during the day.
Yeah, I mean, you can click on the chat and read the question, but it's more a question about speeding on that roadway. But again, that's something that is under our purview and that we would address in this forum. If there are concerns with public safety and speeding on that road, it would be something more for the police department to address.
I think that'd be a police department issue.
Only question is, do we have to read that into the record as a public comment? That's just a housekeeping thing. I didn't know if we needed to read that comment in since it was made.
You already did. It's in there.
Okay.
It's recorded.
In
on
the
all
recording?
those-
Okay. Gotcha. It's recorded.
Okay. All right, guys. Everybody feel the same way about this? As it's a good project?
I would agree.
Any remonstrance?
Any other commentaries from anybody who's in the audience? Remonstrance, as Al said. You get to unmute yourself right now.
No other hands up in the audience, Mike.
Okay.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
One second.
Okay. I think it's a really good project. I think something that West Warwick wants. We want people in that business park. That's the reason that we have the business park, as I'm sure Peter can attest to, being a former councilman over in that area.
Mike, got to close the public hearing before I discuss.
All right. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay.
But just
Vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Alan, I'll take this one, okay?
Okay.
On the petition 21-3, applicants of Trademark Park LLC, owner Kent Business Park LLC, on James P. Murphy Highway. It doesn't have a number yet. Plat 12-2, lot 42, zone BP. I say we move forward and okay this project. I mean, it's a special use permit. It's definitely compatible with the neighboring land use. Definitely won't create a nuisance in the neighborhood. There is no neighborhood. The neighborhood is the business park. It won't hinder the future development of the town. It will conform to all applicable sections of the zoning ordinance that has been read by everybody before and is in conformance with the purposes and intent of the comprehensive plan. So, any other discussion with that, guys? Okay,
Roll call vote.
Paul, you want to take a roll call vote?
Do we need a
Get a
motion
copy?
and a second?
Yes, you do.
Well, Mike made the motion. I guess I'll second it to approve.
Peter Kelsey,
Yes,
Alan Horak,
Yes.
Justin Kuchu,
Yes.
Richard Banks,
Yes.
and Michael McPhillips.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Yes. Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Take care, Sanford.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the next petition. Petition 2021-4. The applicant is Black Ridge Properties / Charles McDonald. The owner applicant is Interstar Realty Corporation, premises 245 Quaker Lane, plat 28028, lot 472, zone R8. The applicant is seeking a use variance to convert a warehouse space into doggy daycare and grooming stations under section 5, use regulation of the zoning ordinance of the town of West Warwick as amended. I think we might have some commentary from our
Mr.
attorney.
Chairman, excuse me, before you get into taking the matter, there is, excuse me, there's a couple of, I'll call them housekeeping or procedural matters.
Yeah.
First, when the application was filed, it was filed pursuant to the zoning code seeking a use variance. Unfortunately, the zoning code is not correct. The state statute requires that it be filed seeking a special use permit. As a matter of fact, there is pending before the planning board, as we speak, a amendment that I have drawn to the ordinance to bring it into compliance with the state statute. In my report to you, I have given the standards for a special use permit. This was not an error on the part of the applicant. This was an error in our zoning code. So that I am requesting that the zoning board this evening make a motion to amend the application to come into compliance with the state statute and change the relief being sought from a use variance to a special use permit. I would ask that the zoning board do that so that the application is in compliance with the state statute. As I said, the applicant filed a zoning code. It was the problem of the zoning code, not the applicant. So I would ask that that technical procedural matter be corrected for the record.
Okay. A lot of legal stuff, but what Al just said, I think we should make a motion to do that. We
Yeah,
have
I'll make a motion to amend it from the use permit to the special use permit per the state
I'll
code.
second.
all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Okay.
Okay,
We
now,
have
Mr.
we have anything else you have commentary on?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chairman. At this point, there is a matter that is of serious nature. Within the last couple of days, a petition in opposition, a 6-page petition with a number of signatures was filed with the zoning board. The first question I have, and I would ask Mr. Chairman, to ask the applicant of this petition whether or not that notice was given to him. Did he receive it by mail, email, or is he aware of the petition filed by the objectors? And I'd like to get that clarified before I go in to my advice to the zoning board.
Okay, that is to a person who we can't see, but Ask that person, did he receive that information? And is that person on this line right now?
Who's here representing the applicant?
Does Joe hear you?
Joe, you here?
I just unmuted Mr. McDonald, Charlie
Hi.
McDonald.
Hi, can you hear me?
That's him.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, yes. I did not receive anything. This is the first time I'm hearing of it through Al, so I haven't got anything, mail, email, or.
Okay, having said that, Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
the zoning board presently has this decision it's faced with. First, the petition was filed within the last couple of days. The rules of practice and procedure of the zoning board require that all documents be filed not less than 10 days prior to the hearing. The second issue is that the applicant has no notice of the content of this petition objecting to the application. Having reviewed this and reviewed the options available to the zoning board, I would advise you that you have, I'll say three options. If it were just a matter of filing in less than 10 days, the zoning board can either refuse to accept the petition and not consider it, or it can waive that filing and go forward with it. Here, however, we have an additional problem. If the zoning board were to waive the 10-day requirement, you have an applicant who has no notice and no ability to state its position in response to this petition. That being said, I would go the step further and say that if the matter were heard and the zoning board should deny the application, in my opinion, when it went to Superior Court, there would be clear prejudicial error against the applicant. With that, and I'll be happy to try and clarify any of my convoluted comments, I say to the board, you have three options. First, you can refuse to accept the application, the petition, an objection, and not consider it, and go forward with the hearing. Second, you can accept the petition and objection, even though the applicant has no knowledge of it, and go forward with the hearing. Or third, you can continue the matter to a date and time certain, with the stipulation that the petition be delivered by the petitioners to the applicant at least 10 days prior to that date and circus, that date in time certain. My advice would be the continuance, for the reason that, number one, it gives the petitioners the opportunity, the people who filed their objections, the opportunity to be heard. On the other side, it gives the applicant the opportunity to know what the objections are. So that my opinion is that by continuing to date and time certain, it gives both sides the opportunity to be heard, and I'll use the term with knowledge. In addition, and this is practical, not legal, it also gives the applicant, if he decides to try and contact the objectors, as is done in many cases, and try and resolve any issues that arise. So again, to quickly summarize, the zoning board can refuse to accept the petition in objection and go forward. it can accept the petition by waiving the 10-day notice and go forward, or it can continue the matter to date and time certain with the stipulation that the application be sent a copy of that notice by the objectors not less than 10 days prior to the date and time certain.
Can I ask
I'll
one
try
quick,
to answer any
Go ahead, Alan.
just a real quick question, but on the agenda itself, for this particular petition, at the end, it does say it's in parentheses, but withdrawn without prejudice. I don't. I- is that-
Okay, let me explain. That was my fault.
Okay,
What happened in this matter, so it's fully on the record, was when the application was filed, I contacted Mr. McDonald because there were problems with the use variance in the zone. And I told him that as the application was filed, I would have to advise the zoning board that it had to be denied for zoning reasons. Mr. McDonald agreed and said that it could be withdrawn and he would see what the next step would be. He then, based on my instructions regarding a zoning change, sought the advice of town planner Carullo. In seeking that advice, he made reference to an opinion letter that I had given to the building office several months ago. The problem was that I did not realize that the piece of property that I rendered an opinion letter on was this piece of property. Once I was made aware of the fact that I had rendered an opinion on this, I realized that this is a very unique piece of property where it had been before 3 different zoning boards over a number of years, and each zoning board in the past had granted a change in the non-conforming use. With that history of the property, I had to realize that it was not a piece of property that he was coming in for the first time seeking a change in the non-conforming use, that this was a piece of property that there had been a long history of this going on. I had just not realized that when I just had the petition and not the past in front of me. At that point in time, I contacted Mr. McDonald and said, I was wrong. I did not realize that this was the piece of property with many changes and uses in it. So I then put it back on the calendar. And that's why the withdrawal is not in effect anymore.
I think, any other questions? I think we should continue it to a time certain, because I don't think the people who put in a petition in probably didn't know about the 10-day situation, most likely. And to give the actual applicant, Ms. McDonald, like 1-day notice that we have a situation with this, I don't think it's fair to Mr. McDonald. So to be fair to both sides, you want to call them remonstrance and the applicant, they can send a petition to the applicant, Mr. McDonald. He can review it. He can talk to the petitioners, and we can hopefully get a resolution and a situation resolved the next time we meet or in the next month. That's my opinion.
I would support that, Mike.
That's my opinion. I think that's fair to
I
both
completely
sides.
agree with you, Mike.
Oh, yeah, I would agree
think
with
it's
that
fair
as
to
well,
both.
Mike. Yep.
Yeah,
My
just-
only question is, does Mr. McDonald, do they have any, different opinion on that, or is everyone comfortable with that solution, I guess?
Hi, guys.
Are there any Joe, are there any petitioners in the audience?
Nobody has their hand. Hold on. One hand just came up. John Carlson from 25 Pepin Street. I'm going to allow him to talk. Mr. Carlson, if you unmute yourself, you'll be able to talk.
This, members of the board, we're not taking this as testimony.
Right.
So I'm not going to swear him in.
Okay.
Wife Susan is also in the room as well, and she and I had coordinated the petition in opposition. And again, you can see.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Can't hear you.
Mr. Carlson, can you speak up or move closer to your microphone?
Sure. Can you unmute Susan Verrier on the call as well?
Yes.
That's my
Are
wife.
you in the same room with her?
No, she's in a different room in the house.
All right. I'm going to say it'll cause everything to echo.
Gotcha. Yeah, we don't want that.
She is unmuted also. She can unmute herself.
Great. Thank you. So just to start, my wife Susan and I have based. There is some echo.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you, yes.
Hello. How are you tonight? Good evening.
Good evening.
Maybe.
Yeah, so we basically took, we've been in this neighborhood a long time, so our petition was in response to the meeting with the town hall. I was not aware of the 10-day.
That's, we figured you weren't. So to be fair to yourself and the applicant, you can send it, if you could send a petition over to the applicant, that would be great.
I completely agree.
Okay, so to be, we understand that you probably didn't know about the 10-day or anything like that. That's kind of more legalese than anything else. But to be fair to the applicant and to be fair to yourselves, to you, my contention is that if you could send over the petition to the applicant, he can read it. Hopefully you guys can speak together and you can work out whatever situations you may have.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Yes, I think that's fair as well. I'm Mr. McDonald, I'm the applicant. So I'm definitely open to working out a mutual agreement or, talking to my butters about, anything that could be resolved.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would, with both of those statements, I would suggest a motion to continue to the next date and time, conditioned upon notice being given to the applicant not less than 10 days prior to the meeting.
My question to you, Al, does that mean if we get a date and time certain, does that have to be advertised?
No,
it doesn't.
does
Okay.
not have to be re-advertised.
We're continuing.
And no, that's why I'm saying date and time certain, because
Okay.
notice has been given, advertised has been made. So you continue it to date and time certain
Okay.
for the specific reason. And that's all set.
Okay. So
Could I ask a question?
who is your question to, Peter?
Al DeFury.
Yeah.
Al, would it be prudent for us to have the, to bring it so that the committee people of the board have an opportunity
To see the petition?
to talk to the petitioner and possibly, I'm not saying give advice, but we can have the applicant, we can have the petitioners talk to one another
Mhm.
without any knowledge or purview from the board.
No, if they do that, that has to be totally outside of the board. The board cannot in any way be involved in it.
I understand that. I'm saying today, without bringing the petition up, to give the applicant an opportunity before he even talks to the petitioners. Of our
No,
thoughts.
because then
I don't know if I do that. I don't know if I.
then
I
you're-
don't-
at that point in time, Peter, you've opened up the meeting. This way, the meeting's been open. no testimony, no cooperation. So the whole thing goes over and starts at that point in time.
I understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
As much as I hate to do it, I think the cleanest way is just to do it at a time and date certain. Hopefully next month is amicable for everybody.
Yeah, works for me.
It works for me.
Okay.
Paula,
Yep. What is
what's
it?
the, what's
March
the,
24th?
March 24th?
Actually, the last Wednesday in March is the 31st.
31st.
Oh, the 31st.
That's a
Yep,
Wednesday. Okay.
Wednesday, the 31st.
the
The
motion
correct
would-
mailing address for me to mail the petition to or email?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, you can send it to 45 Industrial Road, Suite 100, in Cumberland, Rhode Island.
And to your attention?
Yep, my name is Charles McDonald.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan and Charles.
Yep.
Do we need a motion to continue, Al?
Yes.
Make a motion, we continue petition 2021-4 to a date and time certain.
To March 31st,
March
7
31st, 7 PM
via Zoom.
via Zoom.
Second.
Second.
Second it.
Everybody.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go on to the,
Like,
yes, sir.
you had one person that commented under the question and answers. It says, can a proper address be provided in the notice that everyone in that neighborhood received? There is no return address for Black Ridge Properties.
Yeah, that's my company. That's the 45 Industrial Road, Suite 100. Do you want me to type it in there?
It's
No,
on
that's
the
fine.
application.
It's on the paper. It's on the agenda now, so that should be answered sufficiently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Petition number 2021-5. Applicant is Paula D. Phillips, trustee, and Richard A. Phillips, trustee. Owner applicant is the same. Premises is 204 Wakefield Street, plot 19, lot 207, zone R6. The applicant is seeking a dimensional variance to construct a front porch on existing single-family dwelling under section 5.4 dimensional table for lot located within R8 zone of the zoning ordinance of the town of West Warwick as amended. Okay, is anybody here from that petition? Joe, we get anybody out there in the world?
Jack McGreen just put his hand up and he is allowed to talk.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mc-
This
Are you the
Jack
applicant?
McGreen, representing the applicant with law offices located at 21 Garden City Drive, Cranston, Rhode Island. As Mr. McPhillips stated, the applicants are Richard and Paula Phillips, the owners and the applicants. Richard will be my only witness if you want to swear him in.
And Richard, I just moved him in so he can talk also.
Good evening. I'm here. Richard
Thanks for-
Phillips.
Al, are there any exhibits?
Hi, Al.
No
Yeah, we-
exhibits.
Oh, okay.
Richard, can you raise your right hand? Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
How's Paula?
She's right here with me.
Well, Al.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you take a look at the tax assessor map, do I have the ability to share my screen or no? Is that?
Give me 2 seconds, Jack, and I will make an adjustment for you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Wow.
You still here now, Jack?
I'm here.
All right, you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, I can go. Let me see if I can do this. I hit share. Oh, here we go.
It's working.
How's that?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Wow. The Phillips are the owners of Plat 19 Lot 207 located on 204 Wakefield Street. The lot, as stated before, is a legal non-conforming lot located in an R8 zone with a total lot area of 4,710 square feet. The front yard building setback is in an R8 zone, and an R8 zone is 25 feet. Let me just bring up the site plan. Is that popping up for you?
Yep.
The Phillips are seeking a dimensional relief of 11.88 feet. As a matter of fact, I need to make an amendment to my application. I think I typed in there 13.12 feet, and that's the actual setback, as you can see on the plan. So the 25 minus the 13.12, they're actually only seeking 11.88 feet rather than the 13.12.
Okay.
And they're seeking this relief in order to construct a modest front porch on their existing dwelling. As you can see from the plan, there's an existing set of stairs. Let me just bring that one up. Oh no, you can see it. There's an existing set of stairs extending about 8 feet from the house that will be removed and replaced by a modest farmer's front porch with a railing that will extend about six feet rather than the 8 feet from the front of the house. If you take a look at the elevation plan, you can see there's the porch right there. That's 6 feet as opposed to the existing stairs on there of 8 feet. Just as an aside, if you take a look at the, let me bring the other plan back up. You'll see also, they're also proposing, not part of their request for relief, but they also intend to put a hammerhead in here once they remove the stairs so that they can, you know, pull out onto Wakefield Street rather than having to back out onto Wakefield Street. I went by the house the other day at 5 o'clock and there's a lot of traffic going on that road at that time of day. I was amazed at how much traffic was there. It took me like 3 minutes to pull back out onto that road from the house. I also had a chance to visit the property. And I actually did take a picture. I don't know if I have it here. Yeah, there's a picture right there. You'll see, yeah, I was over here, just so you know, it literally took me 5 minutes to get out onto that road because of all the traffic at 5 o'clock at night. So in addition to moving removing the stairs, like I said, they're going to be putting in a little hammerhead here so they can back the car out and come out forward rather than having to back out onto Wakefield. Mr. Phillips is here to also, if you take a look at this, there's a street here, and there's also one on the other side of where that black car is. You'll see that actually the yellow house, the house in question, is actually a little bit farther back than that house, that gray house on the corner. And when I parked my car on the corner there won't be any visual interference with traffic as people try and pull out on that road if this farmer's porch were built. Like I said, Mr. Phillips is on the Zoom call. And if Richard, if you could just briefly explain to the board your proposed reasoning for the improvements to your house.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Jack. Hopefully I'm still off mute here. Well, you got a great picture up there. The front of the house, as you can see, lacks an overhang. And we bought this house new in 1977. So what we're experiencing is the front door has been replaced over the course of 44 years. We've replaced that door 3 times. Unfortunately, the front of the house takes a pretty good beating. So with the rain and the wind and the sun, it pretty much destroys. So 3 doors later, we replaced the kitchen window 2 years ago. Along with that, the stairs, the existing stairs, being the same age as the home, we've got exposed rebar coming out of the side, and we've got railings that the cement on top is eroding, so the fasteners have pretty much just come out of the cement. So last summer when we started this journey, we said, hey, we've got to pull the stairs out, we've got to replace the door, we've got to replace the 2 front windows. What the heck are we going to do? And we looked at, you know, sort of peaks and decks, and We ended up bringing in an architect out of Warwick, DLR, which is who provided the draft plan, and said, hey, this is what we got to do. What are some of our options? So kind of out of necessity to go try to, remove that element of weather, we came up with this plan. So that's why we're here. That's what we would love to do. So if there's any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer.
No, I think that's it. That's our presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? I mean, it's kind of a cut and dried situation. If you drive by the house, you kind of understand what they want to do, and after what Mr. Phillips just said, it's kind of makes even more sense. So if anybody has any questions, fire away, guys.
I don't have any questions, Mike.
I don't have any
Do
questions.
I?
Pete,
I do.
I'm shocked.
Well, don't be. I tend to look at things maybe a little closer than the next person.
That's true, but go fire away. Go ahead.
This is an R8 lot that's a lot plat. It's an R8 plat, which is 8,000 square feet, I believe. Excuse me. The lot itself, I congratulate you that you purchased it new. When you purchased it new, realizing that it's a pretty small lot. You don't have a garage, but you do have a shed and two other decks that are on the property. To my knowledge, looking at the prints that we provided, not necessarily the schematic from your architect, but the print that was provided by the surveyor, all three of those decks are non-conforming. The lot size is non-conforming. The frontage is non-conforming. I honestly, I'm not here to throw water on what is done in the past. As far as I'm concerned, it's in the past. But we're looking for another variance or special variance by the zoning board that adds to the nonconformity of the property. Because the steps are further out than what the deck and the overhead archway is going to be, I would have absolutely no problem with that. I feel that that upgrades the property. It upgrades the value of your property. It upgrades the value of your neighbor's property. But quite honestly, looking at the front of your driveway, I was over there a few days ago, whatever. I see that you park side by side in the driveway now. Would that be accurate?
That's correct, sir.
Yeah. Parking side by side and trying to make a turn in, I think someone called it, I think your lawyer called it a hammerhead. I honestly haven't heard that term before, so maybe he can explain it for me. Is it just a pull-in, turnaround type thing?
It's a 3-point turn, so I know in new subdivisions, fire departments will often require, if you don't have a circle to turn around, and they'll let you go with a hammerhead so you can pull the car in and do a 3-point turn, which would allow.
I understand. I understand that. According to your architect, he's looking to pave 3/4 of your front yard. He has a proposed driveway addition of 9 feet by 18 feet. I don't think that fits my understanding of what a hammerhead or a turnaround would be. I do feel, in my opinion, that if that is asphalted on the front of your property, whatever increasing in value that you're putting on with the new deck and overhead, your property is going to be decreased much more than putting asphalt in the front of your land. So it's approximately 2, maybe 2.5 feet from the sidewalk. If it's given that full 9 by 18-foot addition. I think maybe a better consideration is to, I noticed that you have a dirt area. In fact, even your, the survey mentions gravel on the left side of your driveway, on the driver's side as you're pulling in. So you might be slightly over into into your neighbor's yard, but there's still approximately, I think, 15 feet. I'm sorry, was there somebody who wanted to say something? No, there's approximately 15 feet from your boundary on your left side of the west side of the property to where your new deck is going to end. And 15 feet, you can park 2 cars in there quite easily. But to make a 3-point turn into your driveway, I think is going to be awfully difficult to do on a regular basis. I hate to see that the zoning board give approval to that front new parking area at 9 by 18 and have a car parked in front of your yard all the time. That's my concern. I think that you're doing absolutely the right thing to upgrade your property, the looks of your property. But I'm quite concerned about the use, the size of that front turnaround area, if it's going to be used for that or something else.
Yeah, I can appreciate your comments, sir. When this plan was drawn up last July or so, again, I referenced it was a draft only, and it still is a draft.
Yeah.
We said, hey, what are we going to do? So this thing went back and forth with the architect probably 3 or 4 different times. This addition of the driveway, and we considered taking it out before we even submitted this plan, but it was drawn at that time and we just left it. I'll be honest with you. I don't think either one of us, my wife or I, are sold on this yet.
Okay.
It was something that was a draft. We're excited about, going forward with the porch.
Yep.
I clearly think that if this is a decision point and we're looking to make a decision, we can make that fairly quick about removing it, because I don't think either one of us are sold on it yet.
Peter, if I might, on
Yep.
this, what is before the board is the porch and steps. As to the driveway or any of that nature, that would have to be cleared through building.
Well, I think somewhere on the plan, page 2, section 5, it's on the setbacks, parking 2. So I'm not sure of what that 2 parking is looking at. And I'm not sure that the application itself has anything including or mentioning thereof the so-called hammerhead. The only thing that I'm referencing is a drawing that is not specifically given a linear description by Mr. Boyer, excuse me, on the survey, but is specifically referenced again by your architect as 9 foot by 18. So if we don't have to do anything with it, that's fine by me. I'm not in favor of approving it. But if that's not part of the process, that works for me too.
That's only in the, Mr. Phillips, that part is only in the thought stage.
That's absolutely correct. This is a draft design. We considered it. I mean, there's just 2 cars in my household. The children are all gone now. And we said, hey, if we're going to go disrupt the front of the yard and put a porch in and dig some holes for the lumber, we wanted to do some landscaping in front of the porch to, kind of pretty it up a little bit.
No, that's understandable.
We talked about, is there a potential? So no, this is not confirmed. It is not in any official design.
Okay. Okay, but the porch is definitely what is the main concern here.
Oh, yes, sir.
Your main concern at the present time.
That's correct.
How easy just as a kind of a practical matter, how easy is it for you to back out of there to get out to Wakefield Street when you're leaving?
So when I moved in here in October of 1977, I was 21 years old. And that's when the street had the rock in the road.
Yep.
I witnessed the surveys of 7,000 cars a day. It's challenging.
Okay.
My children, I raised 3 children that all had their licenses. They were challenged.
I bet they were.
Yeah, but no, it's depending on the day. I think Jack said it best. 5 o'clock in the afternoon is not a healthy time. But no, we're used to it now, so we're able to do that. But it's busy. It's a busy road. I'm lucky that our children are all grown up now. So.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? I mean, I think the idea of the porch definitely makes sense. But like Peter said, it spruces it up. It makes it look nicer. It's updating it. You're not updating the inside of the house. You're updating the outside of the house, which is understandable after being in it for over 40 years. I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Adds to the house and adds to your neighborhood also.
Sure does, without a doubt. No doubt about that one. So do we have no other questions, comments? We don't have any like neighbors or anybody, Joe, we don't have anybody else out there in Zoom land that wants to make a commentary or anything?
I'm gonna stop the screen share from Jack's computer and we'll take a look. And note, there's Felix Apollonia is the only other person in the audience. No other people to comment.
Okay. Okay, I guess Felix is bored tonight.
Felix called me while the meeting already started, so he probably
Okay.
went to look at
He
it.
must not have anything better to do tonight.
That's it.
All right. Hey,
How's
Alan,
everybody? Paula?
you want to take this one?
Sure.
Okay, mind taking this? We have to close the comment, right, Al?
Yeah.
I make a
Motion to
motion.
close public comment.
Yeah, I make a motion. We close the public comment.
One second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You can do your thing, Alan.
Excuse me. All right. This is petition 2021-5. The applicant and owner are Paula and Richard Phillips, trustees, 20 Wakefield Street, plat 19, lot 207, in an R8 zone. They are seeking a dimensional variance of 11.82 feet of relief from the front setback requirement to construct a front porch on an existing single-family dwelling unit. The hardship from which relief is sought is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land or structure and not the general characteristics of the surrounding area, and is not due to a physical or economic disability of the applicant, is not the result of any prior action of the applicant, and is not primarily to realize greater financial gain. It will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan. Is the least relief necessary, and if not granted, the hardship will result in more than a mere inconvenience. I would move that we approve the petition.
Second.
Go ahead, Paula.
Peter Kelsey,
Yes.
Alan Hart,
Yes.
Justin Kuchar,
Yes.
Richard Banks,
Yes.
Michael Phillips.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Passes. Good luck, Mr. Phillips.
Wait a minute, Paula Phillips.
Thank you.
Paula Phillips, you still there?
I am.
How's everybody?
Everybody's doing wonderful. How about you?
And I-
How about you and your grandkids and the girls?
Great. I don't like the idea you've been married for 40 years. Makes me a lot older.
Al, it's
Yeah.
gonna be 45 in September.
Good news, Al. Good news.
Yeah.
Just thank you very much. I appreciate, I appreciate the vote. So thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, Al.
Take care.
Okay, make a motion to adjourn, or does everybody want to talk for another 20 minutes?
Nope. I second it.
Wait a second. Okay, we are adjourned. We'll see everybody,
care.
we'll see everybody next month for at least one petition.
Have a good night, ladies and
Have a good
gentlemen.
night, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Joe, I'll get that over to David and pursue it.
Okay,
He will-
yeah, I
he
sent you
will-
I sent you 2 links, so we should be
Yeah,
able to, get that
Yeah.
squared away.
I'm hoping. All right, take care.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, bye-bye.